Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Live with Kyle and Alex. Tonight's show is featuring comedian Josh Novey. Right after tonight's show, we'll be having a live with question and answer right here on YouTube. And we are officially on YouTube Live and Facebook Live.
And be sure and leave your comments on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, or wherever you're watching.
So sit back, relax, and enjoy tonight's show. Guys, welcome to Live with Kyle and Alex. Tonight we have Josh Novey, known as the Fat Veteran. Josh, what's going on, guys?
Hey, what's happening? Some people just call me Josh. It's fine. You don't have to, you have to be mean to me, Kyle. You have to bully me every time we talk.
Sorry. It's a new slogan.
Yes.
Yeah, that's Kyle for you. He's always taking my lunch money.
He's a lunch money taking type,
Yeah.
That's what he is. Yeah. So I tell you, Josh, I gotta say that I really envy you being a comedian. As an actor, I was thinking about being a comedian before I started acting because of my childhood friend, Michael Williams. He owned and still owns the comedy club in Los Angeles. And it was a lot of your comedians started there. All the comedians basically started at the Comedy Act Theater. And I could have gone into Comedy Act Theater to be a comedian. But Josh, it scared me to death to be in front of all those people trying to be funny. And I would be killed. It scared me to death. How do you deal with that? I mean,
Well, one, you do thousands and thousands and thousands of performances. That's just like being an actor.
Yes.
The more you do it, the better you are, and the more capable you feel in your own master of the craft, or whatever you want to call it. But me, I actually have a weird thing about me is that I don't have stage fright, and I never have.
Really?
Yeah. So that's
the first.
I know. So I found out I just never had it, and then that doesn't bother me if I go up in front of one person or 10,000 people. I've never had stage fright.
That I've never heard before. I love that. You've got to be the only one in the world, to my knowledge.
I know.
So how'd you get your first start in comedy?
So a long time ago, so you kind of brought up the veteran thing. A long time ago, I used to be in shape. I was a normal-sized veteran, and
I love
it. So I deployed. I was in Iraq for almost 17 months straight. I was a medic while I was over there, and I found that I had this weird gift that at the end of really bad days, that guys would kind of do a circle around me, and I would goof off and make fun of people, or I'd do little things. And that's where I got my start. Is I found that I had a gift for making people's bad day just a little bit better for a few minutes, and then that's how I got the bug.
Oh wow!
Wow.
I cannot imagine anyone not having stage fright. I've been acting for about going on 50 years now, and every time, I don't care if I know my lines or whatever. Every time before that camera rolls, I am scared to death. It's like, oh my God, and it's so. I really envy you for no stage.
No, well, yeah, that means that you're more prepared than I am. So It means you're better than I am. So
Yeah.
sometimes I wish I had stage fright, so I would be a
Yeah.
little bit better prepared for what I'm doing.
Well, I love it. I love it, man, because that's so amazing to me. It really is.
Where do you come up with your jokes? How do you come out with your set each night when you go on stage?
So there's a few different ways of how people could develop jokes over their career. One, you have to write them, or two, you can steal them. There's the two you can do. You can't.
I know that stealing part.
Yeah. So for me, there's some comedians that are prolific writers. That like John Mulaney, who can write. He could probably write a new hour in a year if he wanted to. But for most of us, it takes us 2 or 3 years to write a new act, and because you have to constantly go through the motions of taking on stage, finding out what people like about it, what they don't like about it, rewriting it. A lot of times for me, I find the joke while I'm on stage. So I have like a premise or an idea, and then I just sort of take it there, and then I get to play with it on stage and see how people react to different things, and I kind of cut and edit and rewrite as I'm telling the joke.
Right. I understand. You may be the only one left on the planet that's a clean comedian.
Me and Jim Gaffigan. I think we're the only two left. I think.
Yeah, it is so amazing to me that comedians think they have to be dirty or obscene to be funny. And I think a lot of times, I can see one or two, maybe one joke that may be a little risque, but it gets insane over and over and over again. And it kind of repulses me a little bit. You don't have to do that. I think another one was Will Smith when he was doing comedy. He didn't get vulgar. And really don't have to be. Just life situations are funny enough where you don't have to do that. And I commend you for that. I really do.
Yeah. Well, you talk. It's the same thing as like Chris Rock. Chris Rock. He writes his jokes where there's no cuss words in it. Everything he writes, if you look at the base of it, there's no vulgarity, there's no issues in it, and it's not until he puts his little Chris Rock little seasoning on it that it becomes something else. But the thing is, if you take away all that other stuff, he's still one of the best writers in comedy history, and he doesn't have to use curse words, but he does it because he wants to, and that's fine.
Yeah. I think that's a lot of things. Another thing, too, is I don't think they really have to, but they do it because they want to.
Yeah. People that have to are generally not good.
Right.
So
I agree with that. Yeah.
It's like some. I'm not going to give examples, but there are clean comedians, and there are like the tropes of clean comedians that they do things, and you're like, oh, that's how you can tell someone's not funny, is because they kind of do this certain thing in their act. And I'm not going to say it out loud because I'll lose friends. So.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I understand you finally have a girlfriend now.
Fiance.
Fiance?
Yeah, moved in. That's why I live in this place that has pictures on the wall and everything. It's crazy.
Well, and you also you finally moved to Arizona. I mean, you got out of California, Alex's home state.
Yeah.
Then you moved to mine. What made you make that move? And how did you find her?
100% her. It was all. She's from Arizona, and I didn't want to live without her, so that was the option: was stay in California or be next to her, and I chose her. So I'm super happy about that choice. We're quarantined together, and we're still together, so it's going all right. So we actually knew each other. Here's a fun story. We knew each other like 20 years ago. We knew each other in high school, and then a couple of years ago, I was doing some shows, and we reconnected. And then one thing led to another, and here I am in a house where the AC unit stopped working yesterday. So now we have all the fans on, and and I'm sweating, so do it for love. Do it for love.
There you go. There you go.
Stage, you don't let them see you sweat, though. You know.
Oh, so you tell me. Like, there's always I always sweat. I sweat opening a box of cereal. It's terrible.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. And see, growing up, I've always been kind of fun-loving guy and been funny, they tell me. And a lot of people have told me, why don't you do comedy? Why don't you do, get on stage and do comedy? That's why I was threatening to get on my friend's stage at the Comedy Act Theater. But I always said to myself, see, I have fun just doing it naturally. But if I had to get on stage and try to force myself to make someone laugh, that would, I couldn't do that. I just couldn't do it. It just amazing.
Well, you're an actor, like the difference between, like, because we all have funny friends, right? And I don't even think I'm the funniest in my friend group. Even I know non-comedians that are hilarious, but the difference is that they're funny, in their group of friends, whereas like a professional, like I have to be funny at 8 o'clock on a Friday night, and
yeah.
And that's the difference, is that we have that ability just like an actor. Everyone has an ability to recite lines,
yes,
but you have to be able to recite those on cue in front of an audience.
Oh yeah, on cue too, like you said. There you go. I know those cues.
Yeah.
Well, and I tell Alex, I mean, he's out in public here in Tucson all the time. All he does is mess with people. He screws with people, and people laugh, they have fun, and that's what I kind of brought up the point to Alex. I was like, you should do like a comedy show, you should go on stage and be a comedian, but like you said, you just
Why
can't.
Not? Yeah, you can if you want to.
Yeah. It just scares me to try to have to force it. It seems like I'm, I don't know. I just want it to flow naturally without being. I just rather be in front of that camera. I actually love dramatic acting as opposed to comedy.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I love drama. I have this thing where I've always wanted to do a dramatic death scene on camera. And I've always wanted to have something dramatic happen to me where I have to cry. And I mean, when I say cry, I mean really go there and cry. So the audience will just be, that's a dream of mine, and I haven't been able to do that. I've died on camera a couple of times. I've never had that, but take care of my children. And oh, yes. And I love.
Goodbye.
Okay. All right. I'm going to give you a scenario, okay? This is your chance. This is your chance to die on camera.
Uh-oh.
And cry, okay? All right. Your character, you're a chef at a camp, right? And it's a serial killer. He's coming out, and he comes into you, and you're in the room, and then you're just filled with onions. There's onion-filled room. You're chopping onions, and the killer comes in. He says, "Oh, it's Chef Alexander," and he goes, "Rah, rah, rah."
But oh my God! Wait a minute. Can I? I don't. For some reason, I can't do it now. I can't do it now. That was so amazing. That was my great chance too.
That was your one chance, Alexander. Come on.
Shot it. I blew it. I just wasn't ready for that, Josh. I wasn't ready for that. I didn't have time to prepare. Okay. Hey, I'm going to have to do that though. Thanks for that. You did. Maybe I should.
See, now you're lamenting about your one chance. And now you can cry, Alexander.
I blew my chance. I blew my chance, yeah. Yeah, that was cool. I like that. Wow, that was my shot too. Okay.
So Josh, what are you doing now during this whole quarantine time?
Oh, I'm sweating a lot, and Actually, we're doing a lot of stuff. I'm trying to stay creative in some ways. You know, painting and I'm trying to learn video editing to do some stuff and writing a book and stuff. So you know, just trying to always stay creative every day. That's not always happening. My fiance will tell you that some days I'm very lazy, and she so, like today. Today is a very lazy day. It's really hot in here, and I don't want to do anything. So.
So you're painting? How long have you been painting?
Oh, I'm not good. I'm not good at it, but it's still so fun. You have to be bad at it for a long time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, I see all your videos on Facebook, Instagram. You're doing. What were you doing? A facial?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So Alexander, my fiance, is an esthetician, so she does like spa treatments and facials and stuff. And then we decided that we're gonna have a spa treatment night, and we did. I think, yeah, it's pretty lovely. We took some videos and took some pictures, and I looked great. Not anymore, but I did. I looked wonderful.
Alex, it sounds like your cream that you discovered.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I forgot my last thought, but
Yeah.
You want a spa treatment, Kyle? Is that was your next thought? Was
Yes.
how can I get Leslie, my fiance, to give you a spa treatment? And we can make it happen.
Yeah.
Reasonably priced. She's very good at her job. So if somebody's listening to this, she's really good. She'll travel, you know, for the right price. Okay, so
yeah, I know the
there you
feeling.
go.
Yeah.
So
and she uses all of the protective equipment. She uses a mask. She does the gloves. She's a germaphobe in the first place. So she's very clean.
Yeah.
Wow.
Great. You know, I don't think I've ever had a spa treatment that I can remember, Josh.
Oh, Alexander, come on.
I really don't remember having a spa treatment. That's why I look the way I do. That's why I'm so gross looking.
You know, here's my thought is that I started getting like manicures and pedicures when I was in the Army, and I started getting pedicures because my feet were ripping sheets. That's how bad it was, and then someone at the time was like, "You have to go," and then they took me and they forced me, and I've been getting them ever since.
Really?
Yeah, and it's not. You know what the thing is? Everybody thinks it's not manly or whatever. Yeah, it is. You show a nicely manicured hand to your Kyle, to your girlfriend or Alexander. I'm not sure if you have a girlfriend or wife or anything. So, but you show them a nicely manicured hand. Oof, right there. That's it's time. It's good time.
I manicured hands. Now, that's part of the spa treatment is the manicure, right?
That's one of the spa treatments. So there's you can have manicure pedicures. Then they do like she doesn't do those things, but she does like the facials and like the wraps and all that stuff.
Oh, I see. Well, that I've never had. I've had a manicure by someone that well, we won't go there, but my manicurists were okay. We won't. Well, we won't.
I'm not going to press you. I'm not going to press you, but this sounds like a good story. Anything you don't want to tell us, Alexander, sounds like something we want to hear.
Well, I'm not sure that. Well, see, she's. How can I? Well, she has somebody now, and I don't know that I would. He may not be pleased with me.
Mm-hmm. He'd be like, "Oh, you've been manicuring someone else's hands."
Especially manicuring with my feelings, should we say? That could. I think I'll leave it there.
All right, we'll leave it there. I don't want you to get arrested. Okay. All right.
Yeah, get me in trouble over here.
So, well, of course, you're not performing right now, of course, but after this whole pandemic overture and all, are you going back on the road?
No, I'm not sure about you guys, but I lost all of my gigs until at least October. So my at least until October, everything I'm doing is done. And so hopefully it gets back to then because I don't bet you. So comedy takes a break in the summertime. So you already kind
I
of
didn't know that.
yeah, you kind of already take a little bit of a break or it slows down. So unless if anything comes up, if anybody listening, I'd love to take your money. So
Yeah.
Patreon at Josh Novey, Venmo, PayPal, Cash App.
Yes. And he's worth it, folks. He's worth it.
I didn't know it takes break. It goes all over, but
it does, and it's you just have to figure out where to go and what times it is to hit different places. So
you gotta come with another act, another act.
Yeah, if you know someone, tell them to hire me.
Absolutely. Yeah, because being out of work sometimes, that's kind of scary,
It's frightening. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'm at the point now where I'm thinking about other job like taking out a job.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's really scary.
Yeah. I haven't had a job in I don't know 7 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, I know what you mean because I have not had a 9 to 5 go to work every day type job. My last 9 to 5 job working for someone else was 1979. I was working for ABC Television. I was printing the scripts and tickets for the TV shows, and I quit in October 1979. And I got into the movie business and did the acting work and it started happening, but I haven't had a job since 1979.
Yeah.
So having to do something you don't want to do is just amazing. And every time before I finish when I finish an acting job,
Mm-hmm.
I always would think I would never work again. Oh my God, I'm gonna figure out I'm no good and I'll never work.
Mm-hmm.
Every time my acting job finishes, I'm out of work and I'm thinking I'm never going to work. But by the grace of God, I've been able to hang in for about 50 years,
Yeah, that's awesome. That's amazing. I say that to be able to do that. That's like my dream. My dream is to own a house that I paid for with my jokes. That's my dream.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm the only guy here that has a second day job. I mean,
well, you're a young kid though, Kyle. You're young, and that's okay. But I mean, if anyone's listening to this or watching this or whatever like that, I made a decision that I would rather work 100 hours for myself than work 40 hours for someone else.
Absolutely. I co-sign that a million times. Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's just I think maybe it's a personality thing or it's our drive or whatever it is. But I've never had I've never wanted to make other people money.
Right. When you can make it for yourself.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And what is your dream job, Kyle? What is your dream job? I don't know if I ever asked you this.
Well, I don't have one. Well, I did have one, but that kind of blew out of proportion. So really how I all got started with this whole entertainment deal is my original goal was to run with Ringling Brothers and Barn Billy Circus.
That's right. Yes.
That was my dream job as a ringmaster and, be able to travel by train and see the world. And then suddenly, I just started YouTube and started making videos on YouTube, started gaining subscribers and started getting famous online. And then I just started, my brother saw this Danny Duncan guy, and I was like, oh, I met the promoter of him. He brought him in. He spent all this money. I was like, man, that's a lot of money to be spending on, but he's making money back on it. So I was like, I'm just going to start promoting shows. My first show was actually Josh for Laugh About at the Screening Room, So back in, what was that, 2019, March?
I think it's either last year, probably.
Yeah.
Probably a year ago.
And we had almost a sold out show.
Yeah, it was great. We had a great show.
Oh, sold out shows are always good.
Yeah, and then he's had better acts than me come through too. I saw some of the guys he had. I was like, oh, hey, they're good.
Well, it's funny is because people just kept that girl from New York that was on a book tour.
Yeah.
She calls you at like what? the day before, like people seeing the sign, they want, oh, let's participate, and it starts seeming like a open mic instead of a 4-person show. But
yeah, and that's okay. It is what it is. So
it worked. So
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Alex bought a ticket, never showed up, and
so we could have been friends in real life, Alex.
Yes.
Could have. What could have happened?
Yes.
You could have gone with us. You could have gone with us to the haunted artifact museum.
There you go.
Yeah. Now that would have been extremely interesting.
Yeah. Well, he's been.
Yeah, but it would have been very interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we all went to IHOP right after, and it was a fun night.
It was good. It was a really fun night. Yeah.
Kind of makes you want to come back to Tucson here with Kyle.
Well, you know what? Bring me back down there when we're ready. When the world opens up again.
I feel like I'm on house arrest right now, so.
I think we're all under house arrest now.
I know.
Yeah. So where are you originally from, Josh?
Do you want the short answer or the long answer?
Well, the long. Okay. We have time.
It was a bright sunny day, June 28th, 1982.
I love
Funny. A young man enters the world, screams, "It's me." So the long short story is my dad was a pastor when I was growing up, and so I have lived in many places, and I've lived all over the world, and it's been so I tend to tell people I'm from Iowa because that's what I look like. I'm from.
You do look like you.
Yeah, right. See, so my mom's family's from Iowa, so I say I'm from Iowa. It makes more sense. I have a lot of family there. So, but realistically, if a lot of times I'll just be talking to someone, and then you name something. I'm like, oh yeah, I live there.
Yes. Right. So I guess was that your parents they weren't in the military though, right?
No, as a minister, pastor.
You just say minister, right? Yeah. My grandfather was a minister on my mother's side, but I never knew him. But that must have been interesting, being a minister's son.
I think that's. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Kyle.
No, go ahead. I don't want to cut you off.
No. Oh, are you cutting me off?
I was. No? Okay. I guess that kind of explains your church shows that you do everywhere now too, huh?
Yeah, so I do a lot of church shows. I'm trying to do a lot of church shows. So if you have church, I do those things. I think that's I learned how to be funny being a pastor's kid because I moved around so a lot. So I figured out a way to make friends within 30 seconds, and that's the one way to do it. If you make people laugh, you kind of automatically become your friend. You have about 30 seconds of that time. So. And you use humor as a device to get as a crutch. Some people would say, but that's okay.
Yes. I agree.
Now you have what is it, a movie or a video on Amazon Prime, correct?
Actually, my second special just came out. So I have one on Amazon Prime called Fat Veteran, and then I have a dry bar comedy special called Tickling Grizzlies, and that just released a few weeks ago, and then the clips are now doing very well, and I'm excited for that. I was excited because if you ever heard of Dry Bar, they have a very large reach, and I was like, oh man, this is coming out. This is going to change my career. And then it came out the day that my special came out was the day that a lot of people got fired. So. I was like ready. I was like getting ready. I was like ramping up. I was like, oh man, this is about to change the trajectory of my career. And,
yes, I know what you mean.
That's cool. I mean, having Amazon Prime, it gets you out there, so it's good.
Yeah. That and they can so people watching this, it's free. They can watch it for free on Amazon and the one on Dry Bar. So if you check both of them out, they're both fun.
I kind of like the title "Tickling Grizzlies." I'm really curious about that. That may get you in a little trouble if you do it.
Well, so I know if it's, but I have a joke about how because I'm a big animal person. I like dogs and but I've always thought that grizzly bears are cute, and I say like I'm probably gonna die trying to tickle a grizzly bear.
I love that. I'm gonna try it.
Now, Alex, you're gonna fall in love right after I say this, but you have a dog named Nutter Butter. Nutter Butter.
I don't know how. Let's see if we can see him. I have Nutter Butter is right there. Is Rupert back here? Rupert.
Yay!
Oh,
there he is.
All right. Rupert might be around the corner. He might be outside the door. So we have Nutter Butter and we have Root Beer, and Nutter Butter is a 6-pound Chihuahua, and then Root Beer is like a 85-pound Lab.
Where did you come up with those names?
The things I eat. I've never. This is the thing. So I'm a big animal person, but I've always thought it was weird when someone like talks about their animal when they have like human names. They'd be like, "Oh, so I was laid in bed last night and Dave was just licking my face."
Oh my God!
I say, there's no confusion over what's happening in my bedroom.
Oh my God!
I love Josh. Yeah. So, I guess I was thinking about one of your good Josh jokes, but that might take away from your act. I wouldn't want.
Yeah, I'd rather people go watch it, because doing jokes. It's the same when when you meet someone, they say, "Oh, tell me a joke." It's not the same. It's comedy's kind of evolved from and I'm sure you remember like Buddy Hackett or those guys. They can come up with those street jokes and they write them and you can tell people those jokes but it's not the same anymore.
Right. It was just a passing thought, and I thought, wait a minute, no, we can't do that. Yeah, absolutely. But you're quite a guy, Josh. I really appreciate meeting you. I really do.
I can't wait. Well, I have a podcast and it's called Off the Crust, and it's called a piecast actually. So we sit down, we eat pie, and we talk. And as soon as the quarantine's over, I'm gonna have both you guys on my show.
Oh, great!
Really?
I'll come down to Tucson. I'll buy the pie.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, where are you right now?
I'm in Buckeye.
Oh,
well, Phoenix.
Phoenix. I'm as west. I'm the very tippy west of Phoenix as you could possibly get.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I still want to travel to LA to do stuff, and so it's a convenient location.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I call her the church lady, but our church lady left, so we're not seeing her much anymore now. But Josh's first church show, I was in the Phoenix area. He posted on Facebook, "Hey, I'm doing a show tonight." Where I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, and come on down." It was at a church. I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be scary." So I'm not very good with it. Now I just made friends with like these people at the 7-person church that I was talking about, Alex. That I was trying to do that whole thing with, but that not completely went out. Failed in proportion, but
my favorite thing is that Alex he said the church lady, and she's actually she has a doctorate and she's a minister, so her name's Dr. Jamelvia Martin, and
there you go.
like the church lady, the lady that spent her whole life.
Well,
the church starts a lot of stuff. Church started me acting. A lot of people, the singers start in church, or you were in church. Now we got to get Kyle in church. Maybe that'll make it.
Yeah. Hey, I got him in church. Hey,
all right. Yeah. Yeah, I think pretty much almost. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people, they start in church.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't for church, I wouldn't be an actor today. I started at 12 in church because the church elders wanted me to do a play at 12, and I got a standing ovation from about 40 adults. And here's this 12-year-old kid getting a standing ovation. I said, that's it.
That's it. That's it. And then you go, you're still chasing that high, aren't you?
Oh, you better believe it. And I tell this story every chance I get. I got a standing ovation from about 30, 40 adults. And this 12-year-old kid that didn't know anything about girls at the time, I got a standing ovation. And that was it. I'm going to act no matter what. But you know how stupid and crazy kids are. I really believed that when I found out about girls, I really believed I couldn't have two things in my life that was so wonderful, girls and acting. I had to give up one for the other. So I decided to give up acting. I wanted to give up girls. I couldn't do it. So I decided, okay, acting, I love you, but I want to be around the girls.
Well, just like acting, with girls, there's a split second where you go, this is it.
Yes, but then I found out after I decided to give up acting for girls, not too long after that, I found out acting would get me the girl. Girls love actors. So this is why I'm acting to this day. And it all started in church. Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. Church kicks off a lot of stuff.
What about you, Kyle? What kind of high are you chasing?
Maybe
we know what makes us tick. I
don't know. I don't know. It's interesting. Well, here's a funny statement. I thought you liked thick girls. What happened?
You know what? So this is a new part. This is a new part of that joke because I have a joke about how I've always kind of like thicker girls. You know, because it's just that's who I am. And you should watch the Dry Bar Comedy thing. It's a much better video of me than telling it to you right now. But so in the joke I have a joke about how like I take this test and it asks me what I want in a woman. It says I want someone that's patient, kind, good with kids, dressed as modestly, and is a hard worker. And then I go on to say that I like a woman that has back sweat in December because I like a thicker lady. So I take Leslie back to meet my family this past Thanksgiving, and and of course, so Leslie, she's skinny, so she's always cold, so she's always dressing modestly. She like works all the time. She's so patient and kind. She has wonderful kids. And then so we're sitting there at Thanksgiving. It's like December 2nd. We're sitting there, it's snowing outside. And then she goes, oh, my back's sweaty. And I was like, Lord Jesus, that's the one. That's it.
That's it. That back sweating did it, huh?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's funny.
Absolutely.
That's funny.
That works. Yeah. Absolutely works.
So really, Kyle, I mean, the thing is, the older you get, the more you look for things and not people.
Yeah. It's true, it's true. But I mean, yeah, it's true. You got
really sad there. Hold on.
Well, I thought something, I couldn't spit it out, and then I was like.
That deer in the headlights look.
Yeah.
So when's the wedding?
Well, we're open October. So we're taking it one day at a time right now. So once everything kind of gets back to some semblance of normalism, then we're gonna kind of go from there and see if we need to push it back or if we need to adjust how we do the wedding or whatever. So.
Are you gonna have it in Arizona or back where you're from?
It'll be in Arizona, and so you'll both be invited. Don't worry.
I'm not worried. I'm not worried.
Yeah.
So, well, we don't know. Yeah. So now we're just. I think a lot of people are just kind of in limbo, and we're just waiting for the world to sort of start back up and kind of figure out what we're gonna do after that.
Right.
Well, since we're kind of all entertained right now, and I ask everybody, would they come on our show? Where do you think entertainment's going to end or start back up after this whole thing? Well, do you think you'll ever die? Like, do you think you'll ever not go away? But do you think this will be more of our?
This is my problem with entertainment right now, and I'm an old crotchety man right now. So Alexander, we're in this together, where like you spend your whole life, or you spend 10 years of your life being good at something that involves you taking time and being deliberate, and then you have a product. You say, okay, I can take an hour and I can make 1,000 people laugh, or I can get a room full of people to give me a standing ovation doing acting or whatever like that. But now with the internet, it started with people getting, people's attention spans were growing smaller and smaller and smaller with YouTube's. Then it was 5 minutes, and then it was 4 minutes and 3. Now TikTok, it's like 10 seconds. You don't have to be talented to do something weird for 10 seconds, do you?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You don't have to be talented to do a lot today. It's all YouTube stars, or, you just get on the internet and you get a few followers.
Yeah.
And you're there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back when I was, taking acting, you had to do Shakespeare and go to take classes in this and classes in that, because there were actors when I was coming up and when I was doing acting, there were complaints about they've done workshops and paid thousands of dollars doing Shakespeare in the park and all of this stuff. And then some rapper of 15 comes along and he hasn't said anything, but he's said a few bad words on a rap song, and he got to start. Now he's starring in movies. And the guy that's done Shakespeare for 30 years, studied at Juilliard or wherever, he's out in the cold for some rapper that said "kiss my" on a record, But it's the way of the world, That's the way. Yeah.
What's your favorite Shakespeare play to be in?
Well, now that is an interesting question. Let me tell you, Shakespeare, that man frightens me. He is so wow. I mean, you have to really understand this guy.
Oh yeah.
And that's a good question. What is my favorite Shakespeare? I know my favorite is the "To Be or Not to Be."
Mm-hmm.
That is the question, whether it is noble in the mind. That's my favorite
monologue or
soliloquy.
Soliloquy, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. But Shakespeare is kind of intimidating to me because he's so wow.
Yeah. Because I'm not the smartest man in I'm not the sharpest bulb in the bunch. So like sometimes I watch Shakespeare, I'll read Shakespeare, and I don't get it. I don't understand it. But then sometimes something happens and it just clicks, and that's what for me. It's like I think my favorite. It wasn't this before, but then after I was in the military, then it became Henry V. And then that scene where he's on the battlefield and he's got the generals around them, and it's like, and you, Bedford and Exeter, you're going to tell your children of this day, and, it's of us, these band of brothers, for he who sheds his blood with me shall forever be my brother. And then, like, when you get older and you're like, when Washo's just like, and they're like,
yes,
my brain exploded. So I'm telling you right now, Romeo and Juliet, I don't like it. I don't get it. I don't like it.
Right. Yeah, Shakespeare will give you pause.
Yeah.
You go, yes. He was amazing. Yeah.
I figured, Romeo and Juliet is the only one, and Hamlet, but that's about the only Shakespeare I've seen. But they're good. I mean, I'm just not a big fan as you guys, but.
All right. Well, we'll change that. Don't worry. Okay. You gotta find something Kyle. You have to find something you like, and then go from there. You have to find something that moves you, and then that's how you dive into things.
That's a good question, Kyle. What moves you? What is
Yeah.
Kyle? Who is Kyle? What is he?
How is Kyle? Is a Kyle?
Well, that kind of goes back on what kind of just what ticks me on a little bit. But I don't know. I mean, I like the musicals. I like the Broadway. I love the singing. I love country. I love the country music. And that's I listen to all the time. My first country concert was Scotty McCreery, and then goes on Luke Bryan. And I've been constantly just going after American Idol or The Voice or America's Got Talent, trying to sing. And I've always thought to myself I'd be that one singer, but I guess I'm not anymore. So.
Why? Kyle, how old are you now?
21.
It's like it's over. My life's over. It's too late. I can't do anything.
Hey, you said country music, and I'm born in Los Angeles, 73 years old, born in LA. I was always been an R&B man, and Miracles, the Temptations, and all of those groups back in the 70s and 80s and stuff. And I left Los Angeles, and I lived in the South. I lived in Charlotte, North Carolina for about 7 years. And when I got to Charlotte, North Carolina, I became a huge country music fan. I never liked country music until I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina, and I started listening to it. Mm-hmm. And I am a huge country music fan. Absolutely.
See, yeah. I hated country until I was stationed in Texas. And I found out when I was about his age, about your age, Kyle, that you could not pick up girls if you didn't know how to dance to country music.
Start foursquaring everywhere.
Yeah. So I learned quickly to appreciate country. I learned how to two-step.
That picking up girls is pretty important in life. If you check the book of importance, picking up girls is on the first page.
Yeah.
I love it.
And another thing I loved about country music, in country music, they love God, they love their trucks, mm-hmm. They love their women, and they love their families, and they drink beer.
I love it.
Some of the stories they tell in their songs are amazing. At the beginning of a song, somebody will have a child to bring them home from the hospital, and by the time the song is over, they have great grandchildren.
Yeah, yeah.
One of my favorites is by from Hootie and the Blowfish.
Darius Rucker.
Darius Rucker, yes.
Yeah.
He has this song. If you have kids, young kids, it's a dangerous song. It's dangerous if you have little babies. Mm-hmm. The song is "Won't Be Like This for Long."
Oh yeah, I know that song.
That song, I don't even have small kids anymore, but that song brings tears to my eyes. Mm-hmm. I mean, he and his wife brings their daughter home from the hospital, and the daughter is up all night crying. And that's where it starts. And it is just so amazing. If you have small children, don't listen to that song. Won't Be Like This for Long by Darius Rucker.
Yeah.
Yes. Quite a story. And a lot of country songs are just great stories. And I don't know where they come up with these stories from. Where they come up. I forgot who did it. He's talking about he's not good at anything. He's not good at painting. He's not good at this. He's not good at that. But he's pretty good at drinking beer.
I mean, that's what you are right now is country right there.
Yeah.
Drinking beer.
I love it. I love it.
Well, Alex, you got any more questions for Josh Novey?
I do have a question, but I can't ask him to give me a joke. But I can't do that. So I don't want you to do that. But I'm curious. I got to come and see one of your shows. We got to get out of this pandemic so I could come and see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to come see you live.
Yeah, come see me live. I love to do it. I'm trying to get something together where I can do like a live show for Facebook. And I know every comedian and every actor and musician's doing it. And so I'm just waiting for the wave to sort of fall down.
I've got my finger on it. I'm watching it. It's I don't know where it's going to be. So
Yeah. I don't think anybody knows where it's going, but we're in quite a time in life here.
Yeah.
I pushed everything till September, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Hey, September, October sounds like a pretty good time for me to come back down and do the Magic Factory.
Okay.
The Magic.
Yeah. What's it called, Matt? Right?
Magic Factory.
Yeah. What's your room? What do you call it?
Oh, the screening room.
The screening room. Sorry. I'll say another thing with Michael, and you're doing the thing. Never mind. Okay. Listen, I haven't talked to another human being in 2 months. All right, you guys. Get it. All I have done is annoy Leslie for last.
I love it. Josh, I appreciate you with us today.
Yeah. Oh, this is great. Man.
Yeah. Have me back on, and I'll have both you guys back on. Both you guys on my podcast. I love it.
And well, hey, let's work the magic and try to get back down to Tucson again.
Yeah, definitely.
Friday night on Live with Kyle and Alex, we have all the way across the country is Ricky Aby. Is that how you say it? Alex? A-B-Y? How you say Ricky's last name?
Rick Aby.
Rick Aby. All the way from Dubai. So tune in Live with Kyle and Alex Friday night on YouTube.
Yes, all the way from actually Amman.
Jordan, right?
He's scheduled to do a movie in Amman. He's in Amman now, but he's from Abu Dhabi, outside of Dubai.
There you go.
Yeah.
Goodbye, everybody.
All right. God bless. Thanks, Josh.
Thank you so much, guys.
All right. God bless. Thanks, Josh.
And we're live.
Yes.
What's going on, guys? We're doing a live Q&A.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Extraordinarily hello, folks.
So today, it's going to be our first live Q&A live on the air, shockingly, so I hope it all goes well.
Oh, yes. Well, hey, Josh is here. It has to go well. Come on.
I know.
Great.
All right, so, Josh, the first question I got is from Mary. Have you always wanted to be a comedian?
That's a good question. I think I first wanted to be Superman, and then eventually, after I learned I'm not invincible, I started to do comedy.
Hey, I thought you were Superman. You destroyed. Come on.
Yeah, the term most people seem to use for me is faster than a speeding bullet.
Faster than a speeding bullet. I love it. I love it.
Up in the sky, a plane.
Now, how did people react when you tell them it's your first job, or that this is your comedy is your first job?
Well, a lot of people will do the thing where they ask for a joke or whatever, which is weird. So I like to do this is a fun game for me. Is I like to not tell people I'm a comedian, and I like to make up jobs. And then pretend that I do something absurd. So you'd be like, "What are you in town for?" And I'll be like, "Oh, I'm here for the Ostrich Farm Festival."
What?
Yeah, and then they're like, "What?" And then I just make up something about ostriches.
Okay, ostrich. I love it. If you were not a comedian, what else could you see yourself doing?
I think I'd probably be a preacher, honestly. I'd probably have like a little church somewhere down south.
Well, being a preacher's son, I can understand that.
Yeah, so that or something where I have to talk in front of people, maybe an educator or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I think you chose the right thing, comedian. You do it well.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt. Yeah.
Can you tell us about the most memorable portion of any performance?
Oh, you know what? Speaking of churches, okay, so I actually a long time ago. This is like when I first started comedy. I was like 6 months into comedy, and I was not good. Let's just say that I want to say I was not good. Okay, and I was doing I was doing a show at a black church in Florida, and
Mm.
as I was doing my set, this lady in the middle of the pews, she just stands up and she goes, "You ain't funny, white boy. Get off that stage."
Yes.
And then she started going, "Boo, boo," and I got booed off the stage at
That's
a church.
At a church.
kind of thing I was saying earlier. It's that it frightens me being up in front of that crowd trying to be funny. That kind of thing is. But the question: did you get off the stage or did you continue?
Well, I think we both lost.
Okay.
Because I finished. I think I was doing 5 minutes or something. There you go. Can you see me now?
Oh,
Yeah.
Better. Okay.
That's
So I think I was only doing 5 minutes or something like that, and that was maybe 3 minutes into my act. So I finished up and I left the stage in a hurry. But she got the last laugh because I've been doing this for 10 years and it's ruined my life. So here we go.
Yeah, I was just checking. I just wanted to see if you got through that, you know.
So Donnie asks, how do you practice your material?
I have 3 dogs, and so I just stand in front of my dogs, and what makes them laugh is what I bring to the stage.
How do you know when your dog is laughing?
It's somewhere between panting and and excited,
Okay. kind of a panting bark, huh?
Mm-hmm. I'll be like, "Oh, this audience sure is rough," and he's like, "Ugh."
Works.
So Tom wants to know if you want to be a comedian, or what if you weren't a comedian, what job would you do?
Oh, you already asked me that.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think I did, but they didn't.
Oh, you did. I'm sorry. Okay. Well, someone's short-term memory is off, and it's not mine. So.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Jerry asked,
I would be an ostrich farmer. I would have an ostrich farm, and I would raise ostriches. And actually, so here's the thing: is that it would be different from what you think an ostrich farm is. I would raise ostrich farmers. So I would raise ostriches to be farmers on the farm. And they'd be out there with like plowing, like with tractors and stuff, and then it'd just be like ostriches driving tractors.
Only a comedian would say
that. Do you crack jokes in real life, or are you quite serious?
I'm very serious. I'm much like the T-1000 in Terminator. I'm a very stoic person. I'm very stoic. I'm so stoic that people are like, "Oh my gosh, how stoic is he?"
Were you the classroom joker?
Actually, yeah, that's a good question. Here's the fun thing is that most of the time, the people that were like the class clowns, they don't succeed in comedy because it takes a lot of perseverance, and they have to like really, really work at it. So I was definitely the funny person in the group, but I wasn't the class clown. I never had a need to be the center of attention until it was my turn, and then it's my turn, and now I get to do what I want.
Oh, okay. I can understand that.
So who really? Wade wants to know who really makes you laugh.
Oh, you know what? She'll hate it that I admit it, but my fiance is one of the funniest people I know, and she's so funny. She doesn't want to go out and be a performer. She doesn't want to be in the limelight or anything like that. But just sitting there, she can make me laugh all day, and she's probably the funniest person to me.
Okay. All right.
Listen, I'm working. All right, see, I'm working. Huh? All right.
A lot of people say people are more funnier than them. Comedians say that them better half or whatever more funnier than. Like people say I'm funny, but I think my brother Kenneth,
yeah,
extremely funny.
Mm-hmm.
A little off humor, but he's pretty funny. Yeah. What else you got?
Dan wants to know, what's the funniest joke you've ever heard?
Or said.
Oh, there's a couple of them. What was the one? Okay, well, so I like jokes that aren't jokes.
Jokes.
For jokes that aren't jokes. I like anti-jokes. So like a guy walks over he walks over to a farmer. He says, "Hey, why doesn't that cow have horns?" And the farmer says, "Well, sometimes cows don't actually have horns, and sometimes we saw them off, and sometimes we put acid on them to make them so that they can't grow, so they can't harm other animals. And sometimes it's just genetics, and some are big and some are small." And he said, "But the reason that cow doesn't have horns is because that is a horse."
That was a joke that wasn't a joke.
Yeah.
That was a funny.
Yeah, see? That's
Mike wants to know, have you ever died on stage?
Oh, yeah. Hundreds of times. Hundreds.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Scared me.
Yeah. But we did. So when I first started out, we got this from a much better comedian. Is that me and a roommate that I was with? We were both starting around the same time, and we had on our board. He told us, well, we watched this thing, and he said, when you've bombed 100 times, you're probably going to be pretty good, right? Right. And so we had this thing. We would, every time we'd bomb, we'd go over there and mark it off. And then the thing is that when you're getting, you start to want to bomb because you're getting up into the 80s, the 90s, whatever. Like, it's like, man, I haven't bombed in like a few months. I gotta get that thing off there.
Yeah. You got to get a bomber in there.
Yeah. So I've bombed many times for free, a few times for a lot of money, and
oh boy,
I've had a few of those. We you know how it is. You have sometimes you have a day and it just doesn't work out for whatever reason, and those are the days that you take the check to the bank before you get on the plane, just to make sure they have no time to cancel it.
Yeah.
Anything embarrassing ever happened on stage? Lexi wants to know.
Oh, no, because you know what? No, because here's the thing. Anytime something embarrassing happens or whatever, it's it's a gift. You have to, like, if you're a performer, you have to be able to take the gifts from the room that you're in, and especially comedy. So you have to be open to whatever gifts the crowd gives you or the room gives you. So if something especially embarrassing happens, boy, that's gold. That's gold right there. All you have to do is mention it, and then you're going to have the crowd on their.
Go with it. Yeah, go with it. Yeah.
Well, that's all I got.
Okay.
That's what I can read off of. So, if you have, Josh, I want to thank you again for joining us.
Alex, did you have something?
I got a question.
Kyle, stop interrupting your elder.
I'm sorry.
No, I was over here silent, so you were in your right to do that. But, yes. Okay. No, my question is, do you have any regrets? And, with on stage or wherever or in life, any regrets, any do-overs kind of thing? Wish?
Yeah, I mean, I have a couple that I won't talk about, but we won't talk. But for stage, my biggest regret is that writing is the number one thing that's going to get you far, no matter what business you're in, whether you're comedy, writing, poetry, even if you're sales or doing whatever. The more you write, the more you're going to generate ideas, and you're going to be able to work off those ideas. And so I think my biggest regret is thinking about, like, even if I spent 10 minutes a day, writing, how much time I've wasted not writing 10 minutes a day, how many days have I wasted? So.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, I have a tendency to do not quite a bit. wasting time. I think we all do.
We all have it, and that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I always think of it as the clock is ticking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, every tick of that clock, that next tick may sound like the last tick, but that next tick is 30 seconds, 60 seconds, I'm sorry, is 60 seconds off your clock that you can't bring back.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I got to be 73 a tick at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So if enough of those ticks go by, if you waste enough of those ticks, you're going to be in your 70s or 100, or maybe even over 100, and maybe haven't done a few things that you wanted to do. So those ticks are important. And I think people overlook that phrase. They underestimate the phrase, the clock is ticking.
Mm.
And it is ticking. Every tick of that clock
just like that. I just heard a tick there. So I'm not sure. I can't remember. I don't know if we talked about this, but so my grandmother, she was in her late 80s. She passed away last year from dementia. And we're sitting there talking like before she, a couple of months before she passed, and having a good conversation. And then she mentioned something. She said, "Oh, are you doing this thing?" I said, "No, I'm too old to start doing that because I'm in my 30s." And then she said, "If you started right now, by the time you get to be my age, you'd probably be pretty good at that."
That's pretty simple. It's simple, profound.
Yeah, it's all it is.
Yes, very simple statement, but profoundly true.
Yeah.
That we just don't think about.
Yeah, because think about I feel like I'm okay at comedy. I've been doing it for 10 years. But let's say I started crocheting tomorrow, and then I died in my late 80s. That's 50 years. I'd be 50 years crochet master.
On the same line, I think about how people would say, well, I want to go to school, but it's going to take me 7 years to be a doctor, or it's going to take me 10 years to do this, or it's going to take me 15 years to do that. And they don't stop to think, well, 10 or 15 years are going to go by anyway.
Right.
You can't stop it.
It's not like the time is going to stop if you don't do this. 15 years of or whatever is going to go by. So the question is, do you want to have this particular thing or be in this particular position when this 15 years or 10 years or whatever years go by? Because the time is going to go by anyway. The question is, where do you want to be or what do you want to have when that time?
Yeah, because in 10 years, you're saying, oh, man, I wish I could have been a lawyer, but now I don't have time.
When you wanted to, by that time, you would be there. Yeah. There's a sign down the street for this building, and it said, if you officed here, you would be home now. And
there you go.
Yeah, and I think about that. It's like, if somebody was driving and they were 100 miles and they were going to go 100 miles away, when they got to that sign, in other words, if you lived here, you would be home.
Yeah.
Because people just don't think about those simple things.
Yeah.
And those are simple.
Well, and then I'm not sure, Kyle, I know you're a singer. I've actually never heard you sing. So, now would be a pretty good time for us to hear something.
Yes. Yeah, hit a few notes. But pretend we're the voice.
Yeah, pretend that I'm
America's Got Talent.
Shania Twain or whoever's on that show.
Are
you serious?
Simon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Singers sing, writers write.
Simon, and I'm like Randy. Randy's not on the show anymore.
All right. Ready? All right. So, one of my American Idol auditions was Moondance by Michael Bublé. So I'll do that one for you. Yeah.
Michael Bublé is some big shoes to fill, Kyle.
It is very big.
Yeah, you picked some big shoes, and I'm listening to this one. Michael, are you listening? Michael Bublé, I hope
you're listening right now. I have him on the phone right now.
Well, it's a marvelous night for a moon dance with the stars up above in your eyes. A fantabulous night to make romance beneath the cover of October skies, where all the trees on the leaves are falling to the sound of the breezes that blow. And I'm trying to please to the calling of your heartstrings that play soft and low. And all the night magic seems to whisper and hush, and all the sun moonlight seems to shine in your blush. Well, can I just have one more moon dance with you, oh my love? Well, can I just have one more moon dance with you, oh my love? I think that's how they end it, but there you go.
Okay. I really think you made Michael Bublé proud.
Yeah.
I think you made him proud. You can't match his voice, but you made. Yeah.
Also, my favorite part is that you, because you're 21, you said it's a Michael Bublé song and not a Van Morrison song.
Yeah, right.
Like
Well, it's
Yeah.
it's a cover. It's a cover. Happy.
that great classic from Michael Bublé.
Van Morrison, Michael Bublé. I mean.
So, Kyle, I think you might have a few record companies calling here.
Maybe, we'll just have to see.
Yeah.
So
that was pretty brave of you,
Yeah, good job, Kyle.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, Josh, I appreciate you once again for coming along, and hope you had fun with us. It was a very good show. I don't know if you watched it or not, but
I feel weird watching myself, so I did not.
Oh, well, you can always replay it. And looks like a lot of people in the YouTube comments said, let's have Josh come back as a special guest several times and start promoting stage shows again. And then Patrick, he's like, coming soon to the show. Kyle, Alex, and Josh get spot treatments.
Yes.
Let's do it. Let's get some spot treatments, yo.
Yes.
Let's do it.
I need me a spot treatment. Maybe
Yeah.
Leslie can make me halfway handsome, right?
Oh, she can make all the way handsome. You're gonna be throwing them off. You're gonna be walking down the street. It's gonna be people left and right, women, men. You don't even know. There's all over you.
I could pass on the men. Okay. John.
I know, but still, but it's.
Let's stick with
Okay.
So that ends tonight, guys. Thanks for watching Live with Kyle and Alex. Friday, we come back to you live on YouTube and Facebook, so tune in. It's going to be a fun show. All the way across the world from Dubai.
Oh, yes.
Thanks again, Josh.
Really appreciate it,